Ladies and gentlemen, it is Johnny TCG back in the off meta kitchen coming at you with another video. Today, obviously, we don't have an off meta leader deck profile for you, but I do think you'll still enjoy it. There is more off meta on the way, I promise. The leader we're taking a look at today is Jewelry Bonney from OP07. This 5-life green leader was pretty popular in OP07 and it'll likely be popular in OP08 as well. It was a strong deck from day one, and I think it gets even better in OP08. For those that don't know what Jewelry Bonney does, when your opponent attacks once per turn, you may rest the Don and then rest one of your opponent's characters. And so this ability allows you to really slow your opponent down. You're gonna get to the late game. Your opponent's gonna be put in uncomfortable situations where one of their characters gets rested before it even gets value, and then you can just swing into it, removing it from play or making them ditch counter from their hand, which either way is a win-win for us. Now, when you take a look at this deck profile, you will see a lot of the same cards from common OP07 builds. These include the staples, Cavendish, Arouge, OP08 Kid. We're only running 2 of them. That seems to be the common number nowadays, but some people don't even run any. We are really going for the big bodies here with 4 Doflamingos and 4 9-drop Zoros. It's been said by everybody, but I'll say it for myself. This card is so good and really has the potential to win you games straight up. The only issue is that a lot of decks are going to be able to get rid of it the turn it's played, or at least nullify it. For example, blue's got red rocks, it's got the OP07 Boa Hancock that will prevent it from attacking. Black Rob Lucci doing black Rob Lucci things. Ice Age is this card's worst nightmare, or Stussy as well. Overall, though, if you can keep this on the board, you're going to be looking really good the next turn. Let's take a look at what we added for OP08. This deck didn't really get a lot of specific support for it, but the green Minx Carrot Leader did get a lot of support, and we can actually use some of those cards in this deck with great synergy. The first one I'd like to highlight is the 5-cost 6,000 Power Carrot with 1,000 counter 2. This card is so good. I may have to bump it up to 4. On play and when attacking, you get to freeze one of your opponent's rested 7-cost characters or less. 7 cost for a 5-cost, that's crazy. On play and when attacking, that's crazy. This artwork, that's crazy. Seriously, this card is so good. Unfortunately, it's not searchable with Jewelry Bonney, but between your leader ability and this, your opponent is really going to be struggling to get swings on you sometimes. The other OP08 card I'd like to highlight is Electrical Luna. For 3 costs, you basically get a baby 10-cost Dofi effect, and so all of your opponent's rested characters stay rested for 7 costs and under. If you're going against a deck that likes to be low to the ground, red Zoro, blue Dofi, this will really come in handy. Once they start flooding the board, you're going to be able to throw this down and really just make them pause for a turn, basically. Electrical Luna even has a trigger, but it is just rest one of your opponent's characters. Now, it doesn't have a cost restriction, which is pretty good, but it's only one of your opponent's characters, so keep that in mind. Against decks that are bigger, it won't be as useful, but I do think it has a spot of at least the 2 of in this deck. If you told me you played more, good for you. I'm not exactly sure what the right answer is yet, but when I know, I'll get back to you. Maybe. I don't know if I'll ever find the right answer. Let's see what other people make, and then we can discuss. One thing to note is that this deck only runs 8 2k counters, but between leader ability and all the cards that can keep your opponent's characters rested, I felt fine with only 8 2k counters. Maybe I'm just crazy, but I think it's good enough. Of course, we do have 3 whoever wins this war becomes justice, 0-cost 3k events. This helps us turn a lot of our bricks into counter. We have a ton of top end, so being able to turn some of those into counter, especially if we have more than one in our hand, is huge. I really don't think this deck needs much more of an in-depth breakdown. Let me know if you have any specific questions in the comments, but I think if you've seen one Bonney video, you get the gist. And before we get into the gameplay, you know what time it is. It is the custom card giveaway. We are going to go with, boom, a custom Bonney Leader. It's got a cool little holographic on it. It's nothing too crazy. It's just some artwork from the One Piece Treasure Cruise game. I'm not selling this. It's not professionally made. I'm not the original artist. I just have fun making them and like sharing them. So if you want to win this custom leader, all you have to do is 1, leave a like, and 2, leave a comment. If this video gets to 20 likes in the first 24 hours, I will send this to one US-based commenter. Also consider subscribing as well. My wife actually said if I don't hit 550 subscribers by the end of the month, she is going to start selling off some of my One Piece collection. I do not want to have my figures sold, so please subscribe and don't let her sell all my One Piece figures. You've heard enough of me yapping. Roll the gameplay. First up, we have a match against Red Purple Luffy from Starter Deck 10. This should be an interesting match. I'm not exactly sure who has the advantage. Bonney typically likes the late game, but by the time we get to the late game, Luffy's going to be able to play out a lot of big bodies that will be hard for us to deal with. Turn 1 for me, I do not have anything to play, so I just have to pass. 2 Dawn for them, we may see a Nami Searcher. Off the Nami, they do draw the OP05 Uso Hachi, a 2K. We've got 3 Dawn to work with now. I'm thinking that we go Jewelry Bonney, do the search, and then maybe swing for 6. Or maybe I leave 1 open so that I can rest either their leader or their Nami if they decide to swing with both. We're going to go Jewelry Bonney for 1, do a search. We do see the Cavendish. We love to see the Cavendish. And then I decide to leave 1 Dawn up just in case they think they're going to swing with Luffy and Nami. I can prevent them from swinging for both. Don't want to give up 2 life cards in 1 turn so early. 6,000 with their leader. We are going to use leader ability to rest the Nami. We'll take that hit. For 4 Dawn, we might see a Mr. Tube on Clay. We actually see the starter deck 10 4-drop Locker Law. That was not ideal, but it is not the end of the world for us. We've got 5 Dawn to work with, and we are going to play out the Cavendish and swing 6 into lead. We lost the Arouge and the Hody off of the Law effect, which is tragic, but it is not the end of the world. I think the Carrot and the Bonney 5-drops are both going to be really good in this matchup. They 2K counter out of the 6,000 swing from leader, and that's all I can do, so I'll pass. They've got 5 Dawn to work with. They will play the Basil Hawkins from OP08. This lets them get a Dawn rested. 7,000 with leader. We will rest their Law Blocker and we'll take the hit. We do get the Hody Jones, and then we top deck the Eustace Captain Kidd as well. 8-drop. That card could come in handy. We're going to start our turn by playing down the Carrot and freezing the Law Blocker. Then we'll do a search with Jewelry Bonney and get the Scratchman Apu 2K. Then we'll give a Dawn to Cavendish, swing 7,000 into leader. They take that, and using Cavendish's ability, we restand 2 Dawn. And now I'll be able to swing 6,000 into lead with my leader. They're going to 1K Zoro Joro counter out of that hit. But I like where we're at right now. They do have a decent amount of Dawn on the field. They will be able to start playing big bodies. I like the amount of cards we have in hand, though, so we will be able to counter out of some big hits if they come our way. They're going to swing 2,000 with Basil Hawkins into Bonney. That is kind of a misplay. It's easy to forget when you're playing against Bonney to not do cheeky little swings like that, because then your big characters are going to get rested, or your leader. They play down the 7-drop Eustace Captain Kidd, giving their leader a boost. We are not afraid of that. I'm going to start my turn by playing the 8-drop Eustace Captain Kidd. Off of his ability, we will be able to play out a Rosinante blocker too, which will be nice. We're going to swing 7 with Cavendish, restand 2 Dawn. They give us the 2K for an Inosuke counter. That's cool with us. I do think we should swing with Carrot, and we're going to choose to swing into the Hawkins and freeze the Law. Might as well get it off the board. We're going to freeze the Law anyway, so it can't hurt us. Then with Eustace Captain Kid's ability, we'll play out Rosinante blocker and pass, leaving a Don up for us to use leader ability. They are going to play the 10 cost Shanks to get rid of the Eustace Captain Kid, but not today. We have the handy dandy Rosinante blocker to save the day. Using his effect, we can prevent Eustace Captain Kid from being KO'd by Shanks. They're going to swing 8,000 with their 7-drop Kid. I am going to leader ability and rest their leader. And then we've got to give them a 1k counter too. I decided to give them the 2k just because I'll probably play Bonney next turn. And using her ability, I'll be able to freeze one of their characters. I think that will be convenient. Or one of their Don, if we so please. We're going to start out with the 2-cost Rosinante. We start out playing that first because we want Cavendish's effect to have rested Don to restand. I'm trying to debate what order to do this in. I decide to start with 9,000 with 8-drop Kid into their leader. They will let that one hit. That's good news for us. We're going to give 1 Don to Carrot, swing 7 into lead, and freeze their 7-drop Kid from becoming active next turn. We are in a really good spot right now. They countered out of that. Are they going to counter out of a 7,000 swing from Cavendish? Restanding to rested Don. They do give us the 2k. And then we just decided to play Basil Hawkins, 6-cost 7,000 power blocker here, leaving a Don up for leader ability. The Bonney would be nice too, but I'm not too afraid. I trash a couple cards from hand and keep it alive. No matter what they do, they won't be able to get Eustace Captain Kid off the board this turn, which is great. They've really run into a brick wall. They do have the 8-drop Monkey D. Dragon, which is a great card to have in this situation. They're going to swing at 9,000 into Kid. Unfortunately, I do not have a 2k, so I am going to have to block with Rosinante. Now, the moment of truth, are they going to add a bunch of Don to leader and swing at Kid, or are they just going to swing with 8? They are going to add a bunch of Don, and so I will have to block with Hawkins. RIP. Did your job well, though. Now, with no Don up, I've got 4 swings in the lead. This should be GG's. Going to start with an 8,000 power swing from Carrot, freezing the Eustace Captain Kid. They take that hit, and now it's time just for a big swing with my Kid. 14,000 into 6,000. That's going to be game. GG's. We are going to go for the rematch. We do have the second curve. Our hand's a little interesting. We are going to keep it because we will be able to do a double search. Our first Bonney search, we take the 2k Scratch Mana Poo. Our second Bonney search, we decide to take another 2k Scratch Mana Poo. We don't have a lot of 2ks in our hand, so we're going to take this opportunity to fill it up. Next turn, we will be able to play Carrot or Basil Hawkins. They 2k counter out of the leader swing with Franosuke, and now they've got 5 Don to work with. They're going to start out with the 4,000 swing from Zoro Joro at one of my Bonney characters. I will let them have that and rest their leader. Then they're going to play down the Miss All Sunday, which lets them draw a rested Don and draw a card from their deck. Love that card. It has a great trigger too. We've got 6 Don to work with. I think I like the idea of playing Carrot here to freeze their Zoro Joro, and then it also leaves me with a Don open to use leader ability. That was a misplay though. I should have swung into the Zoro Joro with my leader. I'm not sure why I didn't do that. I got a little caught up in the moment, but alas, it'll be alright. I think we shall survive another turn with the Zoro rested on the field. They're at 10 down already. It is turn 4. They're going to throw down the 9-drop Edward Newgate, swing for 8,000 at me. I will take this. And now I've got 8 down to work with. With Carrot, I will be able to freeze one of their characters. I'm going to start by swinging 5,000 into Zoro, see if they'll give me any counter for it. They let it go. That is good news. Now we're going to swing 7,000 into Miss All Sunday and then freeze it anyway if they decide to save it. They are going to use the guard point there. I find that interesting. And then for 6 down, I'll play Basil Hawkins and leave it down up for leader ability. Now, next turn I'll have an interesting decision to make between 9-cost Zoro or the 10-drop Doflamingo. I absolutely love the 9-drop Zoro. I just feel like it's hard to play sometimes. 12,000 into my Carrot. I use leader ability to rest leader. I am thinking about being a little cheeky and countering out of that, but I will let it go in the end. Getting rid of all those cards would be crazy. They're going to play down the 5-drop Kid for 5 Don. Draw 2, trash 1. They are going to trash the Diable Jambe. I wonder if that means they have a second one. And now with 10 Don to work with, we have a couple of options. I am going to go with the Doflamingo. There, I should have swung 5 with leader into the Miss All Sunday first. They could free block it, but that would have been on them if they wanted to do so. I then could have frozen the queen, so not ideal play right there. I'm going to drop down and give you 25 push-ups right now. They drop the 4-cost Law Blocker, catches me slipping once again. We lose our beloved 9-cost Zoro, so we will not be playing that next turn. And we lose a Rosinante as well, which is a great blocker. Off the Nami search, they draw a 2K Usohachi. And then they play out the Jean Bart. We are looking at a really full board right now. I am not super confident how this is going to go. We're going to start with 5,000 from Bonney into Miss All Sunday, and they do give me the 1K counter. I'm debating on where to swing right now with my Doflamingo. It feels bad, but I'm just going to swing into the Miss All Sunday and then play out the Zoro. We were lucky and top decked another 9-cost Zoro. It was reborn like a phoenix, and now we are throwing it on the field. It is destiny. They're going to have a lot of swings this turn at us. 10,000 with Edward Newgate into my leader. I do have a Don up. I will probably rest their leader. I could also rest Queen, which I don't think would be a bad option either. So maybe I should do that. And then I'll take this hit. We do get another Basil Hawkins. We might have to play this out next turn. The 8-cost Monkey D. Dragon yet again causing havoc. They're going to give 2 rested Don to their leader, and I am going to take this as well. We do get another 2K. Our hand is loaded with 2Ks. You love to see it. I think I should start countering out of these, some of these at least. And I do decide to block and then counter with Basil Hawkins. I think that's the right play. They could still swing with Jean Bart, but they decide not to. I believe that's because they are worried about another 10-drop Dofi. Now here's where the fun really begins. We're going to be able to swing 3 times with Zoro. I'm debating on who I want to swing at with the Zoro. I think we could hypothetically go for game this turn, but with 2 Dawn left up, I have a feeling they probably have a Radical Beam, at least one. We do know that they run Guard Point in the deck. We're going to start out with a Zoro swing into Queen. They'll probably give me this, and they do. Using Zoro's ability, we set him as active, and we will swing into Leader. While I would love to get the Dragon off the board, they've got to have at least 1K of counter in hand, or they could just block with Law. They are going to misplay and play the Radical Beam, but the thing is, they only got plus 2,000 because Radical Beam's effect is active at 2 life or less. That happens to the best of us. We're going to swing 9,000 into Leader, and they do have another Radical Beam. And now we're going to swing 10,000 into Dragon. Even if they didn't have the counter, they could have blocked out of that, so I don't know if that was really worth it. I probably should have just swung into Leader. We're going to play out a Basil Hawkins to now have 2 blockers. They do have a ton of swings this turn. If they have the Gear 5 time skip Luffy, we are in a little bit of trouble. But we do have counter out the wazoo, so I think we'll be fine. I'm going to take that 10,000 swing from Whitebeard. We get the Rouge. That's a 1k of counter that we are happy to have. 5,000 with Gene Bart. We can free block. We've got a lot of counter in our hand. I'm going to be a little greedy and free block it. They're going to go with the 7-drop Kid, which is an interesting play. I imagine they would have played Gear 5 Luffy if they could have. They're going to go 10 into Zoro. I will give them the 2k. It is not looking great for them. We're just going to go all in this turn. We have the numbers. We're just going to go 7, 7, and then start swinging. We're going to go 7 with our first Basil Hawkins. We'll go 7 with our second Basil Hawkins. We are committed. They give us the 2k. Now I'm just going to swing 10 with my Doflamingo. They'll take that. And we'll just throw a bunch of Don on Zoro and swing it 3 times at him. They block the first with Law, and then this will be game. That Zoro, man, such a fun card. When it stays on board, it's an absolute menace. GG's. Now we've got a game against Red Green Law from OP08. This leader is rarely played anymore, but I would love to see it make a comeback. I didn't play the game back in OP08, so I don't have the PTSD that some people do when talking about this leader dominating the meta. I'm on the odd curve, and I'm going to play out a Jewelry Bonney Searcher turn 1. For 1 Don, they play out the Nico Robin and KO the Jewelry Bonney Searcher. I guess I had that coming. I probably should have waited, I guess. We'll swing 7 with lead, and then leave a Don up for our leader ability. They'll take the 7,000 swing, and I'll pass. With our leader ability able to rest some of their characters, I think this matchup might be in our favor, but we'll see. Off the Nami Searcher, they're going to get the Zoro from OP06, and then they actually play the Rush Zoro from OP01 and decide not to swing. I am guessing they didn't want to swing because they didn't want me to rest any of their characters. That makes sense to me. They're going to try to build out a full board before I can rest their characters. I'm going to play down the Cavendish for 5 and then swing 6 into their leader. To give me the 2k or not to give me the 2k, that is their question. And they do decide to give me the 2k Brook, and then I'll just pass, leaving a Don up. If they do decide to swing this turn, I will rest one of their characters using leader ability. They're going to play down the Cavendish, and then the Tony Chopper. They are already at 5 characters on the board, and these characters are not too shabby. They're going to swing with leader, and I am going to rest the Rush Zoro and take the hit. You could make the argument that I should have rested the Cavendish, and then I could have frozen it with Carrot. That's an interesting idea. They're going to play down the 5-drop Law from Starter Deck 2 to restand the Zoro. Then they are going to pass. We're going to start by playing a Rouge for 4, and then swinging 6 at lead with Cavendish. They're going to take that. They are down to 2 life cards. Now we're going to swing 5 into life. We might end up having to play that Carrot, even though its effect won't hit anybody. Unfortunately, Cavendish's effect only works if you have one of them on the field. If you had multiple, that would be probably too overpowered. They're going to pull some shenanigans on me this turn, I can already tell. They're going to start with 2 Don on 5-drop Law from Starter Deck 2. They will probably swing into the Cavendish. We don't have a ton of counter in hand, so if they swing into it, I might just let it go. Before they swing with the Law, they are going to play down the Nami Searcher over the Nico Robin. I wonder what they are looking for exactly in this moment. They are going to find the OP01 Sanji 2K. They're going to go 8,000 in a Cavendish. I am going to use leader ability. I think resting their Cavendish is definitely the move here. And then unfortunately we have to let Cavendish go. The handsome Cavendish, RIP. They're going to go 7,000 with Zoro. I'm going to take that, and I get the 9 cost Zoro, which I love the card, but I don't know how helpful it's going to be in this matchup. Now they're going to go 7 with lead, and I'm going to take that as well, going down to 2 life. I've got 9 Don to work with. I'm going to swing 6 with Carrot into Zoro, which they'll counter out of, and freeze their Cavendish. I'm in a little bit of an awkward spot, but I think now's the time to play Electrical Luna. In this matchup, it really is going to come in handy. I'm going to play down Cavendish first to restand some Don, and then I'm going to swing 6 again into the Zoro. I'm just trying to get them to use their blocker or give me cards from hand. They do just give it to me, so that maybe wasn't as ideal, and now this Electrical Luna is not as valuable as it initially was, but it is what it is. We play out the Rosinante blocker as well, and then using a Rouge's ability, we get to restand 1 Don. We are not 100% safe here, but we're in a okay position, I'd say. We don't have a lot of counter in hand, but we do have the Hody Jones, so if we can survive this turn, we might be able to go for game. They're just going to go with 9 cost Zoro. That definitely caught me off guard. They're not going to swing at all just because they don't want me to rest any of their characters. With 4 cards in hand, 1 Don up, and 2 cards in life, I don't feel like I'm in a good lethal range. I'm going to start out by swinging 6 into their Law and freezing the Cavendish. Now, I think this is a good time to play 8-drop Eustace Captain Kidd and kind of hunkering down a little bit. Now with Cavendish, I'm going to swing 6 into their leader. They're going to let that one hit. I'll give 1 Don to Eustace Captain Kidd so I can rest him and force my opponents to attack into him. And then I'm going to swing 8,000 into life with my leader, which they will block with Chopper, which is nice. We are going to rest our Eustace Captain Kidd, set 1 Don as active with a Rouge, and I do like where we're at right now. We won't have enough cards to completely save our Eustace Captain Kidd this turn, but I think that's alright. They're going to have to make a choice between how much Don they put on this Zoro if they want to swing multiple times with it. They're going to play down the Curly to Don and reveal the Tony Chopper blocker from starter deck 1. If they're looking for that, they may throw that down on the board as well. We will likely see that come out. They're going to use leader ability, and they get to take back. They're going to be able to take back Nami, play out Jewelry Bonney to freeze our Cavendish. That is not ideal. They're going to start off with a 12,000 swing from Zoro. I'm going to use leader ability to rest their leader, but that was such a misplay. I should have done Tony Chopper. So I'm going to have to drop down and give you another 25 push-ups. They might use Zoro's ability to restand him. We'll see. They might keep 2 Don up if they run Radical Beams. They will restand the Zoro, and this time they'll swing again. Unfortunately, I'll have to block with the Rouge, but this should be enough to go for game. We can drop the Hody Jones and rest their Tony Chopper, which we will do. Rest the Chopper, rest the Don, and now we should have it. We're going to go 7 with Carrot, and then we were going to put it all on Eustace Captain Kidd. GG's. That was a fun one. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the games I got for you today. What did you think about them? I definitely like Jewelry Bonney in OP08. I think she has a lot of potential and will probably top an event or 2. Leave a comment below of any other leaders you'd like to see me play. I'm always down to try out something new. And then also don't forget to like and comment if you want to win this custom Jewelry Bonney leader. If you've never won anything in the past, today might be your day. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the content. It really motivates me and I appreciate it. That's all I got for today. Y'all are tired of me yapping, I just know it. You can tell me to shut the heck up in the comments, I understand. Peace, thanks for watching.